Welcome to the Roswell Business Podcast. On this episode, we hear from local businesswoman Juliana Halvorson. As always, we'll talk a little bit about her life, her businesses, and words to live by. I do want to bring up one quick deal, though. If you could do us a favor and make sure you're sharing this, subscribe on the platform you're on, and give us that like. We're looking in this year to expand where possible, as much as possible. Appreciate all the feedback and things that have come in through you guys and your patience during all of the COVID and the lockdown and all of this. But as we grow, we're looking for more people that are either living in Roswell or are impacted by Roswell. And what I mean is that you do business here, whether you live somewhere else or things like that, but that you create an impact in this city. Also, I'm looking to add some new sponsors. That obviously, the more sponsors we have, the more people backing us, the further we can go and the more frequent that we can do episodes. So reach out to me. Stop by my website, donovanfulkerson.com, fill out the contact form. That will get it directly over to me. Click the little box when you do that about why you're doing that, whether you want to be a guest or you know someone to be a guest, or you can come in as a business sponsor and help us continue this program. Without any further ado, let's talk with Juliana. Well, thank you, Juliana, for joining us today on the podcast and taking time out of your busy week. I know what kind of a amazing impact you do in our community, and it's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you for having me.
Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about that as we go, but it's a privilege to have you here. And I've known you for several years. I've known of your family for much longer.
Yeah. And
just appreciated what all gets there. So, as we always do, we like to find out Juliana, the person. Tell us about, what makes you you. Where'd you come from? How'd you grow up? Little things that are interesting there, and I'll try to hop in at times.
Okay. Yeah. So I was born in Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana. My dad was in the Air Force. He was born in Michigan. My mom was born in Wisconsin. They married and moved to California. He went to Michigan State, joined the Air Force when he was young, first to the Air National Guard. And I have 6 brothers and sisters. There's 7 of us. Good Catholic family.
I never realized that. Wow.
Good Catholic family.
Okay.
I'm the 5th of 7. My dad, we lived in Holloman Air Force Base for years, and then we moved to Torrejon Air Force Base in Spain. It's no longer open, but it was a base then.
Wow. Okay.
That's when Juan Carlos became the king and everything. Francisco Franco was the king when we moved there, and then he died, and that was a whole nightmare in itself. But
and how old were you at that point?
I was 8 when we moved there and 13 when we moved back.
So very formative years that you spent.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And you just wish, you would have paid attention more, because we traveled all over Europe. My dad would take his month vacation, and he'd pack everyone in a pop-up. We'd sleep in a pop-up. We had international travel, all those big bus-looking ugly things, and we drove around across Europe in that, and we camped, and we went to, like the Prado Museum, the Louvre. We visited all kinds, because we were very strict Catholics,
Okay.
Several different very Christian sites. But as a kid, you don't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see the Mona Lisa, I'm like, can we go?
Yeah.
But and we learned Spanish. And, some snippets from other languages. Don't ask me to say any of them now. I don't remember any of them. But, even we went to the Austrian Alps, and we stayed there for like 3 weeks.
So you were in these incredible environments.
Yes. And
crazy historical places, and just had no clue that it was that value.
It was so important. Yeah, we just wanted to move back to the States. We moved back to the States.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a great, great childhood there. Well, we were there too when it was pretty tragic. Our house burned down.
Oh my goodness.
Well, in Spain, wood is, like here, marble is important. It's expensive. Okay. It's hard to get. But there, wood is hard to get, because apparently they were cutting down trees. We even lived in Madrid, in the capital, and we had a tree in our front yard. My dad had to it was dead, but my dad still had to get a permit to cut it down.
Wow. I never knew that.
Yeah. But we were in Spanish class. It was the summer. My sister's home cooking. fried chicken, and the cabinets were pretty low, right above the stove. It was, safety things, foreign countries aren't always the best. And
Yeah.
the cabinet caught fire. It was just that was an experience.
And so did you guys have
Well, my
strong
parents were in
loss?
England at the time.
Okay.
They left my oldest brother, who was like 18 at the time, to watch us. And the Red Cross caught a hold of my parents and basically just told them, your house burned down. Not the kids are safe or the kids are alive or anything.
Wow.
So they're trying to get home, in a panic. And we were all fine. The house didn't burn like an American house would because it had brick foundation. Because wood was so hard to come by. But everything was black. It smelled like,
wow.
The smell.
Yeah.
And then everything was water damaged because the fire department. Well, and the worst part was nobody had phones there because we lived out in the country, and it was nobody really had phones. So my brother had to ride his bike a mile to the hotel, tell him the house. They didn't believe him because he's an American kid. They thought he was lying. So finally, one of our family friends, when I got to her house, she went there and told him. In the fire departments, there's no fire extinguishers there either, or fire hydrants. So
wow.
They had to put all the water in the truck, and yeah, that was just. So after Spain.
What a story!
Yeah.
My goodness.
It was just. Well,
And you still say it was one of your best experiences.
Well, not best.
Prior to that.
Yeah, but one of the, the stuff you go through in life, I think it forms who you are.
Yeah.
And we just learned to live with, any kind of tragedy. You just move on. You just go on. That's how life is, My parents never raised us to be, oh, I had this horrible experience. I have PTSD now. It's just, and I know PTSD. I'm not mocking PTSD.
Understood.
It's a real thing, but I think a lot of people use it as an excuse now for, tragedies, and they needing to move on, and sometimes it's harder for some people.
Do you think it was a lot the military side, or was it just the way that
I think
they
just
were
having
raised
so
as
many,
well, or
so many kids? I think we had to fend for ourselves a lot,
especially being number 5.
Yeah, it was
okay.
just. So after Spain, we moved back to Holloman Air Force Base, and my dad decided to retire, and he was friends with, I forgot their name now, people that moved here to Roswell, and they recommended that he retire here in Roswell. And I wish I could remember their name, but they were really good friends of my dad. They were Boy Scout leaders together and everything. Okay. And so we retired in Roswell, and I just started my sophomore year at Goddard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's what brought us to Roswell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my parents, they've always volunteered in the community and with, the family activities. And they were both scout leaders and everything. So that's where I learned to give back to the community. It's important, I think, that everybody should give, and the fulfillment you get, from volunteering, it just makes you feel good helping people.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's how I got to Roswell.
So you come to Roswell, you enter this arena. What was that like? Here you've actually been around the world.
Oh, yeah.
And back, and
Yeah.
What was the difference in cultures and all this kind of stuff? How did that?
The culture difference, it was, it was pretty interesting because in the military, everyone lives together, races, anything. There's no split anywhere. And we moved here, and it was like, the white people live here, the Hispanic people live here. And I went to Goddard, and there's like one African American, and it was like, that was a culture shock, kind of, because like in 3rd grade, my best friend was African American. We didn't see any difference in color, but here it was like split. And that kind of
interesting
was a shock to us. But we joined band at Goddard. We loved Goddard. The community was really good. So
now at that point, because I know even when I was going through Goddard, and you're not too far ahead of me, but enough. Were you guys still doing the bomb drills and all that kind of stuff? Or
I don't remember any bomb drills. I knew we were in a bomb, but they don't. We didn't do any bomb drills or anything.
Most of all of the drama had ceased by the time you arrived.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
But I do remember, when living on an Air Force base, they always had warnings. So we didn't go hide anywhere, but my dad, where he worked, being in there, he sometimes he wouldn't come home for 2-3 days because he was off. But he was on TDY, and it was during Vietnam, so he was in Vietnam.
Okay.
So he was gone a lot when we were little kids. So my mom was raising us on our own. So that was interesting too.
So you moved to Roswell. You end up going to Goddard, being a part of the rocket legacy. And what happens after high school? What?
So I started going to classes out at Eastern New Mexico University here, and they had they have a job bulletin board. I'm looking for a job, and I saw that KBIM TV was hiring, and I know nothing about it, but I'm like, oh, I'll do that. So I signed up, and I got the job, and so I was a camera operator. I started out as a camera operator.
So you've done photography. I've known that for a long time. Yeah. This literally is something that's gone way back.
Yeah, way back when everything was really old. If you saw like the boards you used and stuff, we started way back. And that was a fun job. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and then I worked my way up to become production manager.
So before you hit that, and we'll jump back there, was this those gigantic cameras?
Oh, yeah. Well, the teleprompter was that big. And then you had to tape all your papers for the teleprompter and put them on a roll. Yeah. And then the Chiron was so old,
And was this the where they still have the old building?
Yeah, where they still have the downtown
Main
Roswell.
Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were in there with KBIM Radio.
Okay.
But they didn't get along, so we were told, the employees still talked to each other.
What years were you doing that, just out of curiosity?
Probably started at 84. I was there for like 7 years.
It's very possible, very possible that you were a camera operator when I would do modeling for, I think it was Sears, JCPenney, and Anthony's.
Oh, when we would do commercials,
do the commercials there for modeling their clothes and everything. Yeah. I was one of those that was brought in and in the 80s. And so how crazy is that?
Yeah, and I have a whole bunch of 3/4 inch tapes at home that I guess need to get converted, from times there, because it was just, and I met Kathy Birch there. I don't know if you know Kathy Birch, but she's my mentor. She's a great artist. She's done so much for the community in Roswell too. Right. And she and we had a lot of fun time,
So you moved up to production?
Yeah, production manager.
Okay.
Well, what happened was I was pretty high up there. We were doing the charge of the commercials and everything. And then Hubbard Broadcasting bought it, and they kind of pushed out the higher paid salary, which was really sad because they were my friends too. So then I moved up there. Then KOAT opened a branch here. Mm-hmm. And I applied for that, and I was the production manager there. Okay. For the whole time they were open here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something I never knew about you. How cool is that?
Yeah, because when we did the Harvey Dubner computer at KBIM, when they first came out. Well, first it was the Chiron. Okay. Then it went to the Harvey Dubner, which, you had to, it was just graphics,
And of course, for our listeners and watchers, those that grew up around here will know, but those outside of Roswell, we actually had these were local stations at that time. Not, like it is today,
David
they're
Gonzalez,
just representatives.
Sharon Bell. Yeah, we had, local shows.
Yeah, it was full channels, the whole
30-minute newscasts at 5, at 5 or 6, I can't remember, and then 10 o'clock. Yeah.
So production at that time was much more stressful and intense.
Yeah, we had the 2-inch tapes we had to put on.
What we see now.
Yeah.
In and we would run empty shells.
Yeah, exactly. On Saturdays we ran actual film, on a projector. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I'm showing my age now.
No, that's interesting stuff. It's neat how technology has evolved through the years.
Oh, and I've seen it, used it. Because then when we went to KOAT, they bought the video toaster, which at that time was the number one, thing to have. So, but I enjoyed that. We worked with Teresa Davis McKee there because she moved over from KBIM there too. And then Donna Oracion, she went over there. Yeah, we all, because we all moved from KBIM over there. Yeah. But we really enjoyed our time there too.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So you did production. How many years were you doing the production stuff?
Like 7 at KBIM and I think 2 or 3 at KOAT.
Okay, so a solid decade. Wow.
Yeah, but and I don't know if this is why KOAT shut down, but we were told that Teresa's ratings were higher than their anchor, and they didn't like that, so they decided to shut it. But I don't quote me on that. That's what we were told. But they closed the station, and they offered me to move to Albuquerque. But by then I had a little 2-year-old, and I was married to my husband who didn't want to leave his career, so I stayed. But
how did you guys end up connecting? What's the story there?
well, I met him when I was like 18 in high
Okay.
school, and and I just kind of had a crush on him, so I kind of followed him around, and then I started going to college, and then we started hanging out, and I started kind of slowly moving into his house,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we got married. We lived together for 5 years, and then we got married
Okay.
in 1988. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think people thought, yeah, they're never going to make it, but we did. He was a wonderful man,
Yes,
yeah.
he was, and obviously
He did a lot for his community. He grew up in Boy Scouts too, and everything. He just did a lot for Roswell.
Without going too dark, just for our listeners to know,
Yeah.
it's been a few years.
Yeah, 2015 he passed away
I was
from
gonna say, since
he had cancer.
He had passed, and that was a rough.
I'm just
time.
grateful it didn't last months and years, because it was months, but it wasn't years. And a lot of people go through so much, and you'd rather have him here, but
But like you said, anybody that had met and talked with him, he was just so genuine and so careful about people. Like you really felt valued when you were around him. It was cool.
Because he was judged when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
He was apparently the only seated judge they've ever had that passed while they were on the bench. But he
really okay.
Even after he passed, I had people messaging me on Facebook that didn't know me, but they're like, he was so honest and so he treated everyone with respect, and the girls were upset, obviously, but we've raised the girls to be grateful for what you have, and we told the girls, I told the girls that you be grateful that you had them all those years, because a lot of people never meet their parents, or they lose them when they're younger, and because even when he was sick and we went to MD Anderson in Houston, it broke our hearts, because you're there and we go outside for a walk and there's like 2-year-olds and babies, with cancer, and you're just thinking, he's not grateful he had it, but he gratefully, our kids didn't go through that.
Yeah.
It's just sad seeing.
Almost nothing worse than seeing children suffer.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys got together, and you fast forward, and children started coming into the picture.
Well,
here.
we got together, and he did a lot with the Explorer Post, and then he took over as Scoutmaster for Boy Scout Troop 2.
Okay.
Which has been here since 1912, and what happened there is they were going to lose their charter.
Oh wow.
And Minor Huffman, I don't know if you know him. He's
I know of. I don't know.
So he was real important to Roswell, and he was like the Scoutmaster for that. And we didn't. John was in Boy Scout Troop 2.
Okay.
And he didn't want them to lose their charter, so he became the Scoutmaster, because they didn't have a Scoutmaster. That's why they're going to lose their charter. If they don't have a troop, you don't have a charter.
Yeah.
So then I became an assistant Scoutmaster. We did a lot with our troop. We had 70 boys go to Wahinape. We took I don't know how many campsites, and that was a lot of fun. And then I'm trying to think what I was saying. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We were talking about
so Troop 2,
having
we
children
started that. Yeah, then I had
a
daughter. I got pregnant, had a daughter.
Yeah.
So then we quit Troop 2, and then when they got old enough, we started a Daisy Girl Scout troop when Shiloh was 5.
Okay.
So then my girls were in all the way through cadets, and then they didn't want to be in.
So you guys
anymore.
are the reason that existed here.
The which?
The Daisy troop.
Oh no, there were several Daisy troops.
Oh, you just started your own.
Yeah, we just started our own. Yeah.
Got it.
And I made a lot of friends out of that. They're still my friends now. So,
wow.
Yeah. You meet really good people in Scouts, I think. And Scouts do so much for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, now I'm on the Boy Scout Executive Board, and I enjoy that, and we're trying to get more people to join. So, join Scouts.
Yeah. No, it's...
If you have kids or grandkids, and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, it's all good.
Having those disciplines are amazing. I grew up in more church-based environments with that, but we had what was called, you may remember, the Royal Rangers program, which was... It was a more spiritually based, but it was the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I look back to those years. I still, and in fact, I'm the church I'm involved with. My leader from that program goes there, and it was fun to talk with him because it just takes you back to those moments, and those are pivotal years. Those are pivotal times that you're learning.
Well, it's a perfect opportunity you learn so much.
Yeah.
And when we had our troop, I always tried to go to places they never would have gone. Or do things that are just they never do at home. We did silk screening, tie dyeing. We did sewing too, because we made a quilt for the. But that was part of teaching them to give back for the Roswell Refuge. We made a quilt and stuff.
Well, and the sewing was also important life survival too.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I know a lot of the things is survival skills that camping and being able to, do all that.
Tie a knot.
I still today draw from a lot of those things. So how cool is that?
Yeah.
So how long did he continue to do that?
We did it till, I don't remember what year we started. I don't remember how long we did it. We did it for many years.
So you took it by default, but then just stayed.
Yeah. And so Shiloh and Shelby stayed until they were like cadets.
Okay.
They didn't want to do it anymore. So yeah, we didn't. But Shelby and I, the last one, we went to Philmont with Cheryl Martinez's troop.
Wow.
That was interesting because it rained all the time, never stopped. To the last day, it was like beautiful. Wow. And we're like, we were mucking through, mud and just, I told my daughter, if you can do this, you can do anything in life, Yeah. And we made it through.
Those make for great stories later, but living them was never, especially with kids.
Oh, yeah.
Kids are, get rather dramatic in those situations.
Well, I thought they told us we were the first all-girl troop.
Okay.
Or, what quest, what do they call it? But I was looking through old photos that you can see on the Philmont site, and there's several that were just all girls, so we were not because I was looking for my brother's pictures because they had all gone to Philmont too.
Wow.
Yeah, we just follow their steps,
Yeah. Yeah, so, you go through all of that. You guys obviously have had a pattern, and you mentioned that from even your upbringing, of just being community involved.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things that have been highlights over your years of just, contributing to this city?
Well, like working for television, you experience so much.
Yeah.
Because when I worked for KBIM, we had the air show here at that time.
Oh man, I loved that.
Yeah.
That's where I fell in love and thought I would go be a pilot.
Yeah.
Because I got to see the F-15
Yeah,
flight
they did
eagles.
everything. Yeah.
I actually worked one year for farmers when they would cater.
Oh. Yeah, and the VIP tent.
And I was the VIP server. Yeah.
Yeah, because we got to go in. We probably were there at the same time because we always got to go in because we were, covering it.
Okay.
But we got to go up with the Golden Knights,
Wow.
They put me in a jumpsuit
neat.
and they put me in a harness and they literally let me hang outside the plane.
How cool is that?
But you had to be careful because the cameras, people don't realize little cameras. They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weighed more than I did because I probably was 100 pounds at that time. But that was fun, hanging out the plane, videotaping them jump. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And there's so many things you get to do as a reporter. I wasn't a reporter, but I was the camera person for the reporters.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. And when we were at KOAT, I got to bungee jump, and just, that was a story because Steve Palmisano was the reporter.
Okay.
And they had that I Challenge Steve thing going on. Yeah. So somebody challenged him to bungee jump at the fairgrounds, and he was afraid to do it. And we went up there, and I said, okay, I'll go first, so he videoed. So my husband, Shiloh's a month old at this time. Or no, she had to be a little more. I think she's like 6 months old. And he comes out to get the checkbook from me. And Teresa David McKee's out there. And he said, where's Juliana? She goes, up there. I didn't tell him I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm going to lose my mom and my baby, But so I did it, and then Steve did it. And it was a lot of fun. But I'm an adrenaline junkie. So.
I was going to say, one of the things that I've always noticed and respected about you was that there isn't a fear factor in your life. I'm sure there.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Because I've seen it when you've talked about things. Yeah, I'll do that. It's just it's like there isn't a hesitation. It's just if you want to do it, you're going to go conquer it.
We did that in you mentioned that we were the girls and I. Shiloh and Shelby Shiloh and her best friend Kayla in Northcat, they were about 16, and Shelby was probably 5 years younger, so she's like 11. And we went to a hockey game in Lubbock, and we were up in the high stands, and some guy walks up to them, and he goes, hey, you guys want to be part of the halftime show? And they're all, no. I go, I'll do it. So I went out there at halftime, and we did a little competition thing.
Yeah.
I'll do anything, I guess. Anything that's fun,
So before we transition out of family, you're such a involved person. We could probably do this on the show, many, many times and not cover all the things that you do. But we fast forward. I know in recent times, your girls are grown up now. Yeah. And tell us about what that transition in life has been like.
So that was, it was hard with John dying because it was like, but the girls, we raised them to give back to the community. So when it snowed, we went to the widows around the street. We'd shovel their walk. We'd do things for the neighbors. Yeah. Which I thought, just that's what people do. Even at Christmas, we'd give snacks, and I talked to someone at work. They're all, "You give snacks to your neighbors at Christmas?" I'm like, "Yeah, I thought everyone, it's just things we were raised to do."
Right.
So Shiloh, she moved to Albuquerque, and then John got sick, and he lived up there with her for a while and was doing chemo up there, and then he moved back. Then Shelby was still at home, and then he passed, and Shelby was still at home, and she was, it just is devastating to the family.
Right.
So I finally persuaded her to go to school at NMSU. So like in the lapse of a few months, I've lost a huge income, my husband, and then all my kids are out. But I did fine, because we talked all the time and everything. And then she's back now. She has enough credits to get a degree from NMSU, but she decided to change her thing to teaching.
Okay.
So she's teaching now at Valley View. She's a permanent
wonderful.
sub. She's still considered a sub because she doesn't have a teaching degree, but then she's going to try to go back. She was trying to do both teaching and, but it's too hard with COVID and, everything that's going on. She couldn't teach full-time, and so she's going to go back next year to finish her teaching degree.
All right.
In Shiloh, I have my first grandbaby.
I was going to mention that because it's a whole wonderful transition.
Oh, yeah. It's just so great. I've been up there. Thank God I've been able to go up there at least once a month and see him. So, yeah. And we FaceTime like every single day. So, Yeah. But, life goes on. And I think that's what gives me a lot of time to help with the community.
Yeah.
Because I had my own business, So after KOAT, going back to that, then they knew they were going to close. Well, I worked with some people who knew people out at Christmas by Krebs.
Okay.
And they were trying to move up into the digital era, and they wanted to start an art department. That's when Photoshop was Photoshop 1.0.
Okay.
So I went out there and started their whole graphic department out there and would digitally design ornaments.
So that, if memory serves, that would be somewhere probably around 93, 94-ish.
Yeah, right around there. Because it was before Shelby was
born. I was a Photoshop nerd, so.
Yeah, so you're right.
I was in Dallas at the time, and we had a deal called, I think it was called Black Saturday.
Yeah.
If memory serves. But anyway, you would go downtown Dallas, and under the overpasses, guys would literally drive up. It was total nerd.
Oh, yeah.
But you'll appreciate this. And they would open up the back of their cars, and they would have all kinds of computer components, software, whatever they had scrounged up, and you could barter like you do down in Juarez.
Oh, yeah. For the parts.
And I would go down there so I could get the latest copy of Photoshop and some of those other things.
Yeah, because back then it was on CD
really
or
good
something.
Price.
Yeah.
And, yep.
Well, and when it first started, it was on those little, the 2.5 inch CD. Yeah, because disc 1, disc 2, up to like 40,
Right.
You're just constantly replacing them. Yeah, that was fun times.
Yeah. So you were integral in helping Krebs expand then.
Oh, yeah.
How cool is that?
And then I started doing their catalog.
Okay.
And everything. Yeah, in-house. Everything. We moved it all in-house.
That's neat.
Yeah. It saves a lot of money.
So did you help with design from time to time? Because I know you
I design the ornaments. Yeah. There's
okay.
a lot of my ornaments out there, my catalogs.
How cool part of your story.
Yeah. So then after Christmas by Krebs, I think it was like 7 years. Don't quote me on that, but
okay.
I decided I could do this for a living, So I started my own business at home.
Yeah.
And I had that for 10 years. And I really enjoyed that. But yeah, what's neat about it is anywhere you go in Roswell, any logos or most of them, a lot of them I've designed.
Yeah.
You see business logos. And I did the Roswell magazine for years. So my kids are all in magazines. And when I had the Girl Scout troop at that time too, like I take pictures of my kids and put them on billboards. They're like, not again. Your kids are probably the same.
And if memory serves, that at that point, was it Graphmaster?
Yeah.
Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching, if they had ever seen anything with that brand, that was you.
Yeah, that was me. And I loved doing that. I really did. But then it got to where probably 90% of my work was nonprofit. So I wasn't having a steady income.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was doing contract work for Pioneer Bank at the time. And Bridget was there then, Bridget Lara. And she moved to Texas. And for like 6 months, they didn't hire anyone. And I was doing the Fly Roswell marketing too.
Okay.
So I met John Hitchcock there.
Yeah.
And I went into him one day and I said, hey, I can do your job, but I want to work part-time, get paid this much, and come and go as I please because I'm involved in so many community organizations. And so they hired me. And in 6 months, they promoted me to vice president. I started full-time. And I say God looks out for you. He really does, because right after that, John got sick, and they still let me work from home. And Pioneer Bank's great. They're so community oriented,
Yeah.
and they want their employees to go out in the community and help. And they're supportive of their employees, when they're sick or their spouses are sick, they're like, do what you need to do to take care of your family. So I'm so grateful. So that's why I say God looks out for you. He puts you where you need to be, I guess, so.
Now a word from this episode's sponsor. At the Roswell Chamber of Commerce, our mission is to promote economic and social prosperity, assist business development and tourism, and foster community spirit and pride. We do this by providing our members business after hours, ribbon cuttings, and grand openings. When you stop by, you will be greeted by our friendly staff. If you are interested in becoming a member, please contact us. We are located at 131 West 2nd Street in Roswell, New Mexico. And our phone number, 575-623-5695. You started talking about Pioneer Bank. We've caught up to there, and which kind of transitions us into a little bit more of where we head on the podcast about, who you are now, what are you doing, what does that look like? I know that you're very influential with their organization, but then there's an immense number of things that you participate.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're very humble, but you
Yeah,
lead.
It's really hard politicking because I have to talk about myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, you lead a lot about just making an impact in our city without a lot of fanfare.
Yeah.
So tell us what you can or what comes to mind, and I'll try to navigate.
Yeah, okay. So, at Pioneer Bank, we started the volunteer program there because, Christopher Palmer, the president, decided, this would be really good to get out and do more in the community.
Okay.
So that helped me get more volunteers out. We do the homeless coalition cooking, we do the community kitchen monthly, and just all over southern New Mexico, the volunteers do a lot for the community. I've been with Main Street Roswell since 2009, and I had to resign now, and it was kind of hard, because to run for office in the bylaws, I can't run for office and but I still volunteer, and I can volunteer. I just can't be an officer. So I'm still helping with that organization. Before that, I was on the Friends of Bitter Lake board.
Okay.
I help a lot of nonprofits. I'm not on their boards or anything, but they call me. They need something. I do it because I look at it. God's given me a gift, and I need to use it for good to help others that need it. So that's why I try to help most organizations that help that request any kind of help.
And so to clarify, when you say help, what does that mean? What does that look like?
A lot of them, they need design work, like for posters. And then obviously Pioneer, we volunteer, cooking. They need help with their Facebook page updates or just getting the word out. Even the church I belong to, the Assumption Church, the Father Yarrick sends me a graphic. Hey, I need this out there. So a lot of people, I get that all the time. They go, everyone knows you, you know where to do the marketing.
Right.
And so, and political parties. I mean, I've helped so many politicians with their flyers and stuff, and I still do.
Yeah.
I still do a lot of the stuff, but at home, but if it's nonprofit, the bank allows me to do a lot of that there too. So.
Well, I know you do a lot of photography too at events.
Yes.
Just chronicling and what a valuable thing that is to our community.
Oh yeah, to have the memories there.
Yeah. And I know you give of your time on that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and so I don't like to. When I started at the bank, it was hard for me because they say you need to keep track of your volunteer hours. I go, I don't want to keep track of them because I don't do it. But then I find out that the bank actually is required to do like CRA credit.
Okay.
Community Reinvestment Act.
Okay.
They want bankers to give back to the community, and the bank does too. So we start keeping track of those. So we started giving out the Presidential Volunteer Service Awards. So I've earned that several times. A lot of people at the bank have earned that several times. So we try to recognize them for their efforts, giving back to the community.
That's neat.
Yeah. So.
And so that's all your giving back side. What is your day-to-day life at Pioneer look like? What's
Well, every Wednesday we have a meeting. We have monthly meetings. There's a lot of communication that goes on at the bank. So when someone needs like decorations for their branches, I do that. I do the marketing to, obviously cross-sell our products.
Yeah.
It's just
anything that Pioneer needs done, marketing, design, whatever,
anything. It's just me.
you carry that.
Yeah,
You
and I'm not complaining. I love it.
Yeah.
I love my job. When we go out, because I go out with like Lainey Smith, and she prevents the fraud, and she saves a lot of people a lot of money. But we'll go out to like talk to schools, and I said, she has the worst job in the bank. I have the best job in the bank.
Nice.
Yeah, because mine's the fun job, and she loves her job, and she's very good at it.
Yeah.
It's just not what I would enjoy.
So Main Street Roswell, you touched on that just briefly.
Yeah.
What does that entail? I know a lot of people know that there's people that are involved with that, but that can be a little bit of a mystery too.
And I do have to say, my success is dependent on all the people on all the boards and everything. Because, like Walker Aviation Museum, you got Robert Sherman and Bob Donnell. They do so much.
Okay.
And a lot of people give me credit when I probably don't deserve it because there's so many people that are helping.
Understood.
Too. But Main Street Roswell, a lot of people don't realize we do the downtown lights at Christmas. We do the community planting. We've purchased the flags that go up and down. The city puts them up for us. They actually own the flags now. What we do is we like the benches that are going in now. For 2 years now, the community's been collecting these benches. The caps to make the benches.
That was the plastic initiative, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's still going on because
Okay.
we still want to buy more benches because we got a grant from AARP to help us buy that. So
Nice.
Molly Boyles and her husband, we collect all the caps. I don't know if you saw, there's a picture of us on the trailer. It's so many pounds. I didn't remember how many pounds of caps.
I remember when it was really heavy, about 3 years ago? Does that sound right? Maybe 4? When it got started?
But when we actually took,
and then when
he
the
had to drive
promotion
the
came
caps.
out later.
Yeah. He
I
had to
saw
drive
a
the
lot.
caps, I think, to Indiana or some other state way across the country. So you take the caps there and then you pick up benches and bring them back. So initially, I think they got 30 benches.
Okay.
And the city's putting them in for us. So
Wonderful.
we do take bench sponsorships. If you go to mainstreetroswell.org, I'm selling it.
Definitely. And I appreciate you telling that to our listeners. What a needed thing we've had for those that don't know.
Because there were 4 benches, I think, the entire length of between like 4th Street and Alameda or something.
If you study our route with all the stops, most people are standing and many times in uncovered areas. And so I know that's an initiative long-term that would be nice to see as well.
Oh, yeah,
so,
that'd be really nice.
But especially what you guys are doing and getting it started at least. And much appreciated.
Yeah. So the community's still collecting caps. We're still, So we do a lot. We used to do the UFO Festival, but now we're working in conjunction with the city, trying to have events downtown where they have their UFO Festival going on. We have the Chili Cheese Festival. We used to do the free movies, and this winter we did the community tree.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the inaugural.
And that's like the 3rd or 4th time we've done that, but it was really good this year.
Event where it really
and we did the free movie with the Grinch.
Didn't you have some deal about one of the tallest tree things in the area or something?
It was like 14 foot.
Yeah.
I forgot her name. You got it. I'm sorry. Devin Bullock.
And most people
Devin Bullock got the tree.
Devin got the tree.
Yeah, she was in charge of that part of it.
Most people don't know the difficulties that you guys face simply because 2 busiest highways in our state converge, and Main Street is actually a state highway, not a city.
Yeah. There's a lot of things we can't
It's crazy.
do. Yeah. Because when we do the downtown lighting, everyone's saying, well, where are the angels? I literally, I looked for the angels.
Really?
Somebody said they went to Reynoso. I called Reynoso, and the guy said he's been there for 25 years. He's never seen the angels. He said, call Reynoso Downs. They said, call Alamogordo. And I've been calling all over. Nobody knows. Yeah, so we can't get the angels back. Even if we got one, but we can't put anything across Main Street either. It's a DOT regulation.
The crazy thing is if you did find them, they might not be as
they'd be old.
Wonderful as all of us remember in our minds.
Exactly. They'd be pretty old and they were probably left outside somewhere, because they're huge,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we used to do the banners too, but the city's been doing the banners now down the street. But, and our biggest objective is to get the downtown businesses, keep them in business, keep them,
For those of us that drive through there, we've been seeing, some of the initiatives that you guys were able to acquire through grants and other stuff like that are actually beautifying down there too.
Yeah, they have facade squads that any business downtown is eligible to apply for. The Economic Development Department, right now, they got a grant for the old Ginsburg. That's where they're cleaning that up.
Yeah, where White Mattress and
there's
Indian
a lot
Arts
of grants
are
out
at
there.
now.
Yeah. So in our downtown business community, it's great. We have a stakeholders page. which, social media is not the best, but it is used for good here because
Right.
they say, well, this person just came in with a fake $100 bill and they
Mm-hmm.
post it right away. Then every downtown merchant can see that and with the picture of the person and know what to look
Yeah.
for. So there's a lot of communication there. And when COVID hit, we did a lot of live videos trying to keep them open.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't lose too many downtown businesses, and some actually did pretty well, But that's our number one goal, is to, promote the downtown businesses and create a vibrant downtown district.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to fill more of the empty buildings in, and that's happening. So.
Well, it's fun to see, and I know for small towns, change comes slowly.
Yeah.
It always does, and it's
Yeah.
just the nature of it. But it's fun to see it in change and seeing people embrace it and finding creative ways to
Yeah.
just elevate the properties and
Yeah, and there's a lot
the
of them, like
experience.
She's a Dandy Hangar 209. There's a lot of them. That's not all of them, but they did it a lot on their own, and they've
Yeah.
done an amazing job.
Yeah.
They've done a great job.
So our show is never politically oriented,
Yeah.
but we do need to, at least because it's a very current thing for you. You mentioned that you're running for office. Tell us a little bit about that and what that entails, and maybe even some interesting details of what the process is like.
Yeah, it's not like I aspired to be a city councilor ever, but being on the Main Street board since 2009 and involved with so many other community organizations, I've seen the relationships between the small businesses and the nonprofits
Mm-hmm.
kind of deteriorate. So I want to open more dialogue. And I figure on city council, it's just more, I can serve Roswell more, trying to open more dialogue and trying to support these, initiatives better.
Yeah.
So I decided to run. And, it's interesting.
And you're willing to take on just the insane amount of time
Yeah.
that takes. Most people don't know. Can you tell us a
yeah.
little about that?
I don't know how much time it's going to take, but
Okay.
I'm willing to do it. But what's good is all my kids are grown. So, and my job is, I have 100% backing from them.
Nice.
So that's always, a good thing to have,
Yeah.
Yeah, and before I decided to run, I did ask them because I didn't want to just say, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a lot of support I've had so much support,
Wow.
come out of the community, my work, my friends. Yeah, so I'm pretty confident I can help the city.
Sure.
That's my goal. Help the small businesses, help the
Well, and
organizations. Just make Roswell better.
You naturally having the non-fear side of you is probably going to help you weather. It doesn't matter how good a person you are. If you get into politics, there's going to be people that like to play smear games and they like to play hate games.
And I'm trying to stay out of that. And when my husband ran for office too, when he was magistrate judge.
Yeah, because you guys have been there.
Yeah, we've been there, and we just try to keep the race clean. And
it's amazing, just where we're at as a culture. And we talked about this prior to recording, like social media has done, but also in our politics, we rather than being people together united for a common cause and being able to compromise on things, we take sides.
Yeah.
Which is
And
just weird to me.
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
because I got people telling me things on this year, and then other people tell me things on this year, so I need to work it all out, and just they're saying take sides. I'm like, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. My friends are my friends. And
well, if we're supposed to be for the community, that means everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I don't envy you on that level at all.
Yeah, it's not fun, but
it's the old you're bad if you do and bad if you don't.
Yeah. But I think the way I was raised, I just was raised to to be a strong person.
Yeah.
And stick with my beliefs, and my morals, and so that's what I'm trying to do.
So, this is all the things that you do, which is incredible, and you clearly find enjoyment and pleasure in all that. What does Juliana do? What I call soul food. What do you do that brings just you back to that place? Because when you give, as you are, when you give and give and give, it's like you're drained and you have to fill back up somehow.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
So, everybody thinks, because I'm so outgoing and everything, that I did one of these online things, and there's introverts and extroverts, and I don't remember the name, like an extrovert, and I'm like in the middle. Because Yeah, I love going out and meeting people and talking with people because I really enjoy that. With Leadership New Mexico, that was so amazing because you meet so many people and it's so much fun. But I also like being home and just relaxing.
Okay.
Like Saturdays, or even, we go to church on Saturdays so I can sleep in on Sundays, because I'm like, I need my rest, It's just, but Shelby and I, you walk in my living room, you see 2 TVs because we Xbox each other and we play.
Okay.
Just to relax,
So what do you play then?
Well,
I didn't realize you were a gamer. That's really fun.
Yeah, we do World of War. We've been doing Ark a lot now.
Okay.
Borderlands, we would play it and play it and play
wow.
it. Yeah,
You're hardcore. That's impressive.
Yeah, I know. I've just always done it, It's just, So like when I got my drone, and everyone's like, this is so hard to fly for me. It's like, it's so easy, because, you fly drones. But if you play, I guess, because I've heard the Air Force actually likes to hire kids who play video games because it's so similar, you know. But that's how I relax. I just,
Okay. You're able to
and
escape.
gardening, obviously, you've seen my pictures on Facebook. I have so many plants in my garden. I love my garden. Yeah.
And then if memory
and
serves,
hiking. I just love
I was
hiking.
going to mention you guys like to go conquer mountains and trails and
as I get older and don't walk as much, it gets a little harder. But we spread John's ashes up at No-Gal Peak, so we go there every year and we try to hike to the top every year. Yeah, and it's so beautiful up there. And it's just, that's how you relax. I would go camping by myself a few times. People are like, you're freaking crazy. I'm like, no, because it's just so relaxing. I have the dogs, I have my gun.
there is a unique thing when you can quiet everything in your life at times. There's just something about that helps bring all kinds of things.
Somewhere. I'd be in the water all the time.
So as we head into the home stretch of this episode, and I thank you so much for the journey that we've taken thus far. What are some things that you've picked up along the way, and you've hit a few, but you're welcome to revisit them, that you could give our listeners that life wisdom, business wisdom, family wisdom, it doesn't matter, just some tidbits.
I would recommend people volunteer.
Okay.
Because I think, people that take from others, I don't know how they can wake up in the morning. But when you volunteer and you help people in need in your community, and I always say God helps those who help themselves, because I'm not like saying welfare people or anything, but you get some people who are down on their luck, not by their choice, or just an organization that does good things for others. The fulfillment you get, the self-fulfillment you get from helping others, it's just, because you would do the same thing. It's just, I guess that's what God says to do too, And then I know this is cliche, but thank God for, your family, and spend as much time with, because I've lived where you just really miss them. And a lot of people, it's not just me, a lot of people have gone through this, but you got to be grateful for what you have and enjoy it. And, don't keep thinking, I need more. You got to be just grateful for what you have. I'm so grateful for my 2 girls. I'm grateful I had John for, we were married for 28 years or something, it's a long time.
The attitude of gratefulness is a tough one, though.
Yeah.
It's necessary. And the better we get at it as we get older, we realize, my goodness, why haven't I done this my whole life? Yeah. But it's something that has to be fought for. How do you maintain that?
I guess it's just the way I was raised. You just, that's a hard one. I don't know. I've been blessed. I really have. I think, people always say, it'd be really nice to have this house or this car, but, and then you think about it, you think, I'm actually doing pretty well. I have at least I have a house, I have a roof over my head. I have a car. So, and that's the way we raise the girls. You be grateful for what you have. John and I both, we always told the girls that, things could always be worse. Even when he got sick, we said things could always be worse because they can, so. So
if I'm hearing you, you guys have just made this a habit.
Yeah, it's like a habit. And sometimes it was hard for the girls, especially when Shiloh got married or like when she has the baby, you think, oh, I wish Dad was here or something. But, you just move on.
Yeah.
So.
That's really cool. Don't
feel sorry for yourself.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that frustrates me when I see people doing that. Yeah.
And how easy it is for us to go down that path if we're not careful.
Yeah. Well, and I think it depends on support too. Those around you, it's always nice to have the support of people around you. That always helps you get through things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And based on what you've told us today, by purpose, you've put yourself in places where there was support.
Oh, yeah.
Not just living life alone.
Yeah. Well, you have to. You can't sit at home and wallow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, even when John first died, and I'm doing all this housework now, I'm remodeling things. My daughter, are you selling the house? I go, no, this is my therapy,
Yeah.
to stay busy and move on, and a lot of people feel this way, the one you love, and when they die, they wouldn't want you to sit there and wallow,
Yeah. Do you think it's kind of also a way of honoring that relationship?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because, you go on honoring them and their name, and that's what you do, So.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So let's say, because you've been through a lot of different business places, what might be something, because what you already said was also very good in a business mindset, but what might there be some things that you picked up, especially in a small town and being in charge of Main Street, Roswell, and things like that, that might be some insights for some of our business leaders and things like that you like, this is invaluable to your success?
Yeah, I think getting involved. If a business getting involved in their community, you get out there and you find out what your community needs and you try to help with that.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to you because people see you out there and they're like, oh, they really care about my community. So I'm going to go shop at their store, because I do the same thing. I see someone doing something good for I'll go shop at their store. I'll support them because I see they really care. And that's why I love working at Pioneer Bank, because we really do care, about everyone in our community. So, that just helps. I think it helps the business. Well, in fact, really I know good. It helps the business because people do go out and they see you out there. They know you care.
Yeah.
So they'll frequent your store, Yeah, we have a good downtown business group that, they do that. So. Yeah,
and just being another person, entity in the community, seeing the atmosphere of Main Street and the way everybody is carrying themselves.
Yeah.
You've had an effect on that, and I know that it's
not
just
group,
you.
The whole board.
The whole group does it. But the point is that thinking that you're presenting us right there is obvious that it's happening, because we're seeing that atmosphere take place, and it matters,
Yeah.
So we've covered most everything that we would normally cover in a deal. When you had, when you said, okay, I'm gonna agree to be on the podcast, so forth, is there something we didn't cover or that we didn't talk about that you were like, ooh, I'd love to?
I think so.
Yeah?
You did a good job.
You think we hit it?
Yeah, I think we hit it. Yeah, but I don't I don't always like talking about myself.
Yeah.
Because it's not just me. Like I say, there's a community behind me. The Main Street Roswell Board, the Walker Aviation Museum Board. There's so many people in Roswell that do so much that they don't get credit for, and it's not just me. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you interrupting your week and spending some time with us, and hope that all the things that you're doing continue, and that God continues to give you breath so that you can keep helping others in this journey. So
I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
If you enjoyed today's program, subscribe to the format you are on, YouTube or podcast channel, so you get notifications of new releases. If you want to connect with me, go to donovanfulkerson.com for my companies and related business and product offerings. On social media, my personal accounts have daily spiritual and personal life posts. My business accounts relate to those specific products and offerings. If you'd like to be a sponsor, reach out too. We can make that happen. Thank you for connecting. Please share this video and get the word out. We'll see you next time.